everyone, and welcome to Business Boutique. I'm Christy, Wright, and today we are continuing our new series, 5 Ways to Be True to You. Now, in part 1, we talked about being willing to experiment. Today, we're building on that. Today, we're talking about part 2, which is where I want you to be willing to work really hard. Now, I know this doesn't sound fun, right? Like, who needs more to do? Sounds like the bad news. But I want to reframe that for you. Because hard work, believe it or not, actually has more unbelievable benefits than you could ever imagine. Let me give you an example. So many people come up to me, either at book signings or just out in public or even in a coaching call, and they say, Christy, I want to do what you do. I want to be a speaker. I'm like, awesome. Well, what do you want to say? Who have you spoken to? Who have you talked to? Have you spoken for your local church? Have you spoken for the local community group or even just a book club or ministry? No. I want to speak on like big stages. Like I want to be a professional speaker. So I'm like, I hear you. But that's where you start. You start by being faithful in the small things. You start by working hard when no one's watching. You start with the humility of someone that is willing to do the hard work in the beginning for the payoff. So what areas of your life do you need to work really hard because you're just in a season of getting started? You're just in a season of the beginnings, those humble beginnings. You know, I'll give you another example. You know, I love a good running example. So often, I have seen runners expect an unbelievable payoff on race day when they didn't put in the miles. They didn't put in the training. They didn't put in the weightlifting and the diet and all of the work that's required. But that hard work is what leads to that finish line. So if you've got this idea in your head about a life that you want to lead, it's going to take hard work. Let's use kids as an example. Let's say that you want your children to grow up to be amazing, wonderful, loving, successful, God-fearing adults. You want that? I want that. You know what that requires? A lot of hard work, a lot of consistency in the day-to-day small things, a lot of persistence and perseverance that will pay off. But we can't just coast through life and expect to wake up one day with an amazing marathon time or amazing kids or an amazing business or an amazing career or amazing marriage or amazing friendships. It takes hard work. It takes being willing to be faithful in the things that don't seem like they matter. Those small, insignificant things, those things that are too unimpressive to post about on Facebook. They're just showing up, being faithful in the small things that no one ever sees. It's that hard work that not only creates the result that you want, it creates the person in you that you want to be. See, yes, today, I get to speak on large stages. I get to do really cool things and go to really cool events. But I am a different person today, not because of the big stage, but because of who I became when no one was watching, but because of the person that I was, that I had to become at the Kentucky County Libraries on a Friday night when 3 people showed up, or the family reunions, or the high school reunions, or the events where it was seated for 5,000 and 3 people showed up. Or the college campuses where it was a giant arena and 2 people showed up. And it turns out they only showed up because they got extra credit for their class. Those beginnings, that hard work, being faithful when you did not have the payoff, the hard work to shape you into the person that you can become for the big things. I love how Craig Groeschel says, it's the small things behind the scenes that no one ever sees that leads to the big things that everyone wants. I have another friend, Pete, that says, God cares more about who you're becoming than where you're going. Those things occur. The results in the big things and the person you're becoming happens in the hard work. It happens in the small things. It happens in the day-to-day grind. It happens when you're showing patience to your kids when you don't want to because they're driving you insane. It happens when you want to snap at your spouse and you want to be short with them and be hateful, but you stop, you step back, you pause and take a deep breath, and you instead respond with kindness. It happens when you give of your time and your energy. It happens when you have absolute excellence in everything you do, even if no one ever knows it's you. When you show up with excellence, even when you don't get credit. That hard work is what leads to the results you want in a life that's true to you and where you become the person that you want to be in that life. So I want to ask you, what hard work have you been putting off? What does that look like for you? What is that thing that has, if you're honest in your private thoughts, it's felt a little beneath you? It's like, I don't need to do that. I don't want to do that. No one's ever going to see that. That doesn't really matter. I'm not even going to get credit. It's a thankless job. It doesn't have the wow factor. It's not impressive. It's mundane. It's boring. It's not fun. No one's excited about it. What work is that for you? What hard work in an area you want to grow have you been putting off? What hard work do you know in your spirit you need to do? You don't feel like it. You don't even want to if you're honest, but you need to have the discipline to put it in anyway, to show up, to be faithful in those small things. Because I promise you this, if you want to live a life that's true to you, it's going to take hard work. It's a lot easier to coast. It's a lot easier to walk around like the sleeping dead, like zombies, just coasting through life, not exploring this bigger, better life that is true to you that God has for you. It's a lot easier. If you want to lean into the life God has for you, if you want to become the person that God has for you, if you want to live a life that's true to you, it's going to take hard work. So your challenge for this part of our series, 5 Ways to Be True to You, is to write down your answer to that question. What hard work do you need to do right now? What hard work have you been putting off? What hard work is standing between you and the life God has for you? Write that down and then join us for part 3 as we continue this series, 5 Ways to Be True to You.